all for the Crocs, bro.
Look, I'm not complaining. I'm surprised I took this long. I'm super chuffed. And then Mila bought me all the gibbets. So I was like, I can't disappoint the kid. I got to keep her at the gym, you know.
Just make sure your knees are
Put the
okay.
plant in there.
Make sure that knees so don't stand up too far.
Yeah, no. I'm waiting till we're officially done before I stand up.
Anyways, let's get into it.
Cool.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, WTA6, the official preview. Myself, young Dylan Carrera Miguel, and the old goat now, Jamie Gemmell in the house. There's going to be a lot of leg touching and all sorts of weird things in this one, I'm afraid. That's what we're here to do. Thank you, lads. You're obviously, it's funny how I try and set these things up. I was like, it was so close to Dill not being on the first card. I was like, hey Dill, I got a broadcast spot for you. He's like, yeah, I'm going to be in a quintet. I was like, yeah, okay, we tried, but here we are. Obviously a big card coming up. We're trying to get things moving. Mr. Gemmell is talking about getting a win here, moving on to a title picture. I think that 80 division is going to open up quite nicely, this one and the next one. A lot of young studs coming through, a lot of things happening, a lot of things to go through. Obviously, by the time you see this, we're going to be a couple of days out. 02 June, same arena, 133 on first. I say arena, I'd probably call it a facility.
It's arena.
Yeah, it's an arena on Friday night.
A bunch of men in the arena.
Yeah.
The man in the arena.
A bunch of manly men in the arena.
Yeah, except for the girls.
Yeah. So just to quickly give it from my side again, how we've structured the card, we've obviously made a couple of changes, and I think that's important to me. Like as we walked in, like, oh, what about cutting times? And that's what we've kind of done. So the first 6 fights are going to be trimmed. It's going to be 6-minute rounds and 1 minute overtimes, like we spoke. The reality of sub only is that there is overtime and it is an available option, but it's not really what we want to see. I don't think anybody really wants to see that. It's one of those things, it's an available thing there. In my eyes, it's there like if the match is completely even and we can't separate. But that's obviously what we want. So in my head, chopping those extra 2 minutes, 8 minutes seems a lot longer. You know what I mean? It seems like you've got like 4 minutes to settle in and 4 minutes to make things happen.
It feels longer.
6 minutes, yeah. 6 minutes I feel like is you got to go.
You got to go, yeah.
You got to go. So that's the plan. So the first 6 fights will be 6 minutes, 1 minute overtime. We felt in the last one there was a lot of gaming going on, like strategizing to get to the overtime, which is part of it, I guess. But if we
Not for Dylan.
subs or nothing.
Yeah.
But like I think if we can put the pressure on the clock, I think that's going to help. And obviously, as we've gone on with the refs, we like making sure that the refs are trying to keep the pace as much as they can. Again, we structured the card. We've got a junior fight. I think this one's going to be an absolute cracker. Then we've got your youngster Jordan in there against Milan Stradom. Two very. The crazy thing with those kids is like watching them perform on like our stages. These kids are so far ahead already. Like you can just see that they're going to blossom. You know. Yeah. So I'm excited to see those kind of things. So we've got the juniors, the up and coming sort of blue belt kind of area, and then we progress as we go through the card. So that's how we've structured the cards always. Like we've tried to keep like from juniors and like build it up slowly, obviously to the top dogs, as we shall call them going forward. I think we've got 7 black belts.
What's that? The most black belts you've had, most black belts I've seen in a comp.
Yeah. I think 7 black belts on the card. Obviously, the top 3 fights are all 6 black belts. Yourself and Alan Cliff on the border of a black belt, I would assume. So yeah, it's jacked up and juicy. I think that's so the whole thing here is to, in my head, kind of build that card up nicely till we get to that point where things are going to start to get crazy. I think we've got a cracking quintet as well. JP Kruger and Tion Faber. JP's picked a strong team. Tion's picked a strong team. They've had a change. We're going to get into that. But yeah, it'll be very exciting. A lot of things can happen in there. And the quintets have been quite wild lately. So it's
they always deliver.
Even that ladies one at the last one was a barn. Nicole came back.
She was watching.
I mean, Nicole van Beek, she pulled out 2 arm bars in like no time left.
One was like 1 second left and she pulled it out.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
Yeah, no, it was insane. It was insane. I honestly, I dig the format. I dig the format when it works that way. If it goes like a bit lopsided, it gets a bit
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay. Well,
That last quintet especially, because I think everyone was kind of like, oh, it's going to be a walkover if you look at the names. And then just out of nowhere, that's such a crazy turn of events.
And then in JP Kruger's team, the team that you're on, you've got Andre van Wyk, who's
Nicole's dad.
You got to fill in your daughter's boots, you got big shoes to fill.
Is she available to swap out for him if he doesn't perform?
I'm sure she's got some tips, like arm bars and just make
1
it
second
happen.
left, and then you strike.
She's a buffalo, eh?
Yeah.
He's such a unit.
He's strong.
Power.
Your team.
Yeah. And I started there. I started with Nicole.
Yeah.
We literally started running at the same time.
Sure.
And her dad's a
somehow she's just advanced.
When we started running, I was like pound for pound, so much better than me.
She doesn't like the overtime like Dylan does.
No,
She finishes in regulation.
She wants to get it done.
Yeah.
So her dad's got some big shoes to fill. I feel a bit nervous for the man. Big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
She is literally like the queen of the quintet now.
Yeah.
So you got to go out and do your daughter proud, Mr. Van Wyk, I'm afraid. Cool. So let's jump into the first one. Obviously, it's a welterweight junior. Levon Gulignan from SPG Bedford View against Sebastian Ferreira, who's fighting out of Heidelberg at Ability Academy. Very excited about this one because these are the kind of youngsters that are just about to cross that frame into like the adult divisions. They've been competing a lot. Levon is, I think he's represented the country on a national level for judo.
Yeah.
He's
super technical.
Super high level competitor. Sebastian has been competing in MMA. I think I don't want to mash it up. I'm pretty sure you have that. And he's kind of like he's training non-stop, almost ready for that adult transition. You know what I mean? And he's been doing really really well with us. And he's been asking for like a big opportunity. You know, the guys from Heidelberg, Steven Pretorius' gym, they want the challenge all the time. You know, those guys, they don't want like. They don't blink at opportunities. You know what I mean? They're like, just whoever's there, cool, let's go. He's obviously spent a lot of time with Stefan. It's a small gym, you know what I mean? So you get this like one-on-one time all the time, which I think is going to be really good for him. The youngsters of SPG they for whatever reason just come for the kill as well. They
especially someone like Levon, he's got a very aggressive style. Like also like a very strong kid. And with all that judo experience, like you used to competing, and like I said, that strength for grappling. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out.
And that judo mindset is just go forward because you don't have time to rest. So it's going to be interesting to see if he brings that into the
judo brown belt.
Yeah, he is. I think he just made the SAT
like
now. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
So it will be interesting to see because that pace in judo is one thing, but to keep it in a jiu-jitsu fight, especially no-gi, it'll be quite interesting.
I always love those matchups with the judo guys because you're like, what do we do here? You know what I mean? Like we can't close the distance. Like we can't do it silly. You know what I mean? Like we've got to make sure it's measured and we're going to do it properly. And we're like, do you sit down? Like what do you do, dude? Like if you sit down, you've got to really back your grappling, you know what I mean? Because if that dude gets on top of you, power.
And they're hard to sweep. The base of theirs is really impressive.
So it poses a lot of questions, and it's going to be very interesting. I mean, it's an opportunity for these two guys to like really stick their hands up in that little crew of the youngsters coming up. I think the Angolans who came out the last one were like a really high level, but I think they also got caught up in like trying to be too flash at times or trying to do these kind of things, you know. And then obviously the overtimes came back to bite them. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like I like this little junior division. I like to see the guys stick their hands up in there.
And hell of an opportunity to open for a card like this. So I
100%.
hope they both take it with both hands.
100%. And then it's your man Jordan Hinckley and Milan Straven from Cornerstone. This honestly, like I've been super excited. The matchup kind of like came to me in front of my eyes at the last event. I'm like, okay, we've got to see these two kids throw it out. Milan is just like, he just looks like a supreme athlete.
He does.
I'm like, how do you look like this? Like, what's going on? Like, obviously in the PlayStation growing up. I don't know what happened. But absolute beast, absolute beast. And he's training with like a serious crop of dudes. Carl Lundy, Keanu Lundy, Aiden Griffith.
Lloyd's top-notch
Lloyd,
coaching.
That Cornerstone crew, they move so well. You can actually see at the comp on the weekend we were discussing and saying like how well they were moving and now like a distinct style of jiu-jitsu. It's amazing to see.
And a lekker bunch of them.
And it's so wholesome.
Very
Just like
cool
a
dudes.
good group of people. Like
very,
really
very
nice.
cool dudes. So again, like these two guys are like, and what's nice about this is they've got a nice look of the 83 kg division, what's in front of them, like where they are, and I think that's going to be interesting for me. Like either one of those kids really like turns it up, and you're like, okay, well, and now you got to decide what you want to do from here. You know, like we've got, you can make a splash quite quickly from there. You know. And I think honestly in that division, those two kids are 100% the future. Jordan's obviously, I mean, you can speak to that. He's a kid who's in the gym, he's training, he's very teachable, he's obsessed with jiu-jitsu.
No, completely obsessed, I think we have like, let's say 12 classes a week, he's at 12. Yeah. And he's in and he's been running for a year. Yeah. Literally been running for 1 year. Yeah. So he's just taken to it and he's so dedicated and it's been like just so phenomenal to see his growth, and like an opportunity like this is justice for him. I'm sure he'll take it.
Because like I love like when I was here and I saw him, like you can see he's just a dude who just like absolutely loves jiu-jitsu. He's listening intently. He's like really focused when he's on the mat, and he's having a good time. You know what I mean? Those mixes are always very important. Yeah. So I'm super pumped for that fight, man. I think it's going to be hell of interesting. I would assume, obviously it's based on like looks, but watching Milan roll at the last Sub Kings, like against Aiden, and I think he rolled with Carl as well in the absolute. Like he obviously eventually lost those matches, but like he was strong enough to give them quite a few problems for a while. You know, try and see how Jordan matches up with that physically. It's going to be
can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very, very interesting. Any shoulder crunches, eh? Shoulder crunch sweep, eh? Boy? You guys have seen any of those before? And then we're into the ladies, Lazan Esther Hesen versus Brinley Bontekonen.
Another judo.
Oh, this is going to be a cracker.
Yeah, I think Brinley, I think she's a blue belt, if I'm not mistaken. She's pinned as the judo girl.
Yeah.
In judo, sorry.
Yeah.
I think a very interesting fight.
Yeah.
Lazan is like very submission heavy.
Yeah.
I think that's what we like about it, you know what I mean? And she was quite upset she didn't get a little run on the quintet, and I was like, no stress, we'll figure it out, we'll make it happen. And then at the same time, Brinley started winning at Sub Kings. She went to Thailand on a camp, I think, or something like that, came back, and it was just like a big change. You could see it straight away. It was like, sometimes someone just needs that little like confidence, switch, you know what I mean, so you can actually win these. And she like just started racking up a couple of wins. It's like, okay, well, now we've got to check. Now we've got to see.
Lazan had a good run at the last Sub Kings as well. She came back from a few very bad positions, and the composure, I think, was what was quite impressive. So, but again, big stage, lights on. It's going to be a cracker.
You got to perform.
And it's going to be intense. Yeah. It's going to be a fire match.
For sure, and like it's again, we're looking at trying to get a bit of depth in the division at 61. Trying to figure out who's around, who's there, and I think the ladies know that. They know it's like 1 or 2 good wins here, and we can start to look at possibly fighting for a title and that kind of stuff. So exciting.
It's a nice fight.
Unfortunately, the only ladies fight on this one, it was supposed to be Nicole van Wyk versus Sash Robinson, which fell off. One of those things. So we didn't want to force it, so we let it be. Hopefully, we can get that one back, or
that would be a
something fresh.
Yeah, it's. Those two girls got dogs in them.
Yeah.
I mean, Scraps. That's her nickname. So.
Yeah, dude. I think also you've got to be ready to deal with Nicole. You've got to be like. I think Sasha's been like studying and doing a lot of things, so she wants to give herself the best opportunity. Yeah. I don't think you can rock up.
No.
I'm not against half prepared for the Vague, no. You know? And that's cool. Like that's smart to me. I'm like, definitely don't come there 50%. It's not going to end well, you know. Because Nicole doesn't. I don't think she operates at 50%.
I think it's go.
So, so excited about that one. Then Liam Schulze, a youngster from Quan Vessels, against Kate Sakura, a youngster from GB Kempton Park. I've been trying to get Kate on for a while, Shane. He's also one of those dudes. He's at every comp. He's always grinding it out.
Such a lovely oak as well.
Yeah, such great people. Like I'm a big fan of those people. And like it was actually supposed to be Kate versus Timna in Clowley, but we lost Raymond Aker for the combat jits. So Timna said like, look, he's keen to
do combat.
To do the combat for those who don't know, Tim has just captained the SA MMA side.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we
Okay.
went to Serbia. Really, really, really good MMA dude, like really
Fighting
good
out of?
grappler, Converses. He's like him and Tim and Liam are like the younger generation.
Yeah.
MMA
So
dudes.
this is Juan Vessel versus Juan Vessel.
No.
Oh, sorry.
I was just
sorry,
explaining how
sorry.
that
Yeah,
how
yeah.
that looped around. So Liam's actually fighting now this weekend, GFC, I think.
Oh, nice.
Please just
Yeah.
finish it quickly, please.
Yeah. No,
Just be quick.
yeah.
So in terms of a grappling fight, and they've had a history. I think Cade beat Liam at Sub Kings like maybe 2 back, something like that. So there's a bit of a
Oh, nice.
history there.
Yeah,
Obviously,
stylistically, that's going to be very interesting to see, especially like sub only.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Liam's going to have to like push the pace if he's on top, and then Cade, if he's playing guard, obviously can't just rely on maybe hitting like a sweep or something and winning by points. Like you really have to push the pace for both.
Yeah.
So I think stylistically, that's going to be very interesting to see, like kind of MMA top heavy,
Yeah.
like but not the old school, in like that new school like smart grappling MMA
Sure.
versus the new school kind of more
Mhm.
guard playing jiu-jitsu from 2 youngsters. I think that's going to be epic.
Yeah, and obviously Liam's got a very like wrestling heavy approach, and Cade is also like he's very big on submissions. Like he's a big time submission hunter, and I think that's often if you find him like losing in a match, he's like he's gone too hard at a submission. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
He's really like trying to force that submission to like
Yes.
okay, like having that little bit of experience now to say okay, let that go. It's not going to work and move on.
Yeah.
I think like a little while ago you could see that happening a lot. He would just like overcommit to a submission, like
yeah.
give up a position, and then so it'll be very, very, very interesting. How do you deal with the like pressure passing, wrestling, and then from Liam's point of view, how do you deal with like that constant barrage
Yeah.
of submission? So yeah, I'm excited, man. It's nice. Also, again, like a kind of like youngster kind of level coming up. I think either of them can put on a really, really big show. It can be quite dramatic. So that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
Good job. Nice little fight. That. Then Carl Lundy, Conor Shekel.
That's going to be a good
At
game.
light heavyweight, Carl Lundy was 77 like a few weeks ago. Carl, I don't know what's happening there, but yeah, my boy's sized out. So they also at the last Sub Kings, Conor Shekel is a straight ankle dude. Like it's one of those. Just you just know that's just how he's
That's
going to
coming.
win.
Yeah.
I think he wins 99% of his fights with a straight ankle. Like he's just really quick onto it. He's obviously like that's his thing. That's what he does.
A young Talbot guy.
Yeah.
Young Talbot guy.
Yeah.
Big shoes to fill, please.
Yeah.
Put my man under pressure.
Yeah.
Conor Shekel obviously finding out of Vickers Swart's gym. I saw it happen and I was like, we have to see this again.
Did they fight for the last one?
Yeah, Sub Kings.
Who won that? Kyle?
Connor.
Connor. Oh.
Won
Okay.
with I'm pretty sure he won with a straight ankle.
Okay.
And yeah, immediately I was like, okay, we have to see this
Serious,
again.
Yeah.
Nice.
We have to see this again. And I think like we spoke about Cornerstone, like I think for someone like Carl to lose to a straight ankle, he's like, nah, come on, you know, like he wants an opportunity back. And on the big stage, and Carl's been there already with a little bit more experience to play into it. So
And he's I rode with him at the ADCC Absolute, and he's a unit. I must say, like he's
a big boy.
You can like some people with a certain weight, you feel them like, oh, you probably shouldn't be this weight, like you know. But
you're talking to me now. Okay, Don, I see where this is going.
But when
Dylan
he
will
was
be leaving
when
now.
he body locked me, I was like, okay, this is this is like
Strong
a proper
boy.
unit.
No,
like,
he's a big boy.
yeah, that's
he literally went from like 77, and like I spoke to him, like, yeah, what about this dude at 77? He's like, oh, I'm like 89 kilos.
Oh shit.
I was like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
But like nothing really changed. He just like all of a sudden got heavy.
Pulled out. Yeah.
But he's still young. He's like 20, isn't he?
Yeah, something like that.
He just went from like boy to man, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Boys-
happens.
yeah.
Boys to
Boys to
Yeah.
man. Like the group, except not.
Yeah.
But yeah, excited about that matchup. I think Carl's a really high level dude. I think Conor Shekel is reasonably unknown, but I think he can definitely cause a lot of
Which is what the
problems.
beauty of the
And he's
big
also as
stages.
strong as an ox, dude.
Yeah.
He's also like a really, really big
Coming from
dude.
Vickers Swart's gym.
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
you got it. That's not an easy
He
route.
is an absolute unit. And it's nice to know that you've beaten a dude with the technique that you always use.
Yeah, so you can fall back on that.
Yeah.
But the
But you
trick
can't
comes
play
now.
it too
Yeah,
hard.
Because
Yeah.
now everybody knows.
Yeah.
And now they know even more because you mentioned.
Yeah. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
So yeah, it'll be super interesting. It'll be interesting to see what Conor has if he goes for that and it fails. Like what?
Yeah, what's the backup?
right?
Yeah.
I think Vickers is very smart on game planning. I think he's been around a long time, so it'd be interesting to see what they come up with. And then Katlecho, Rabaji, and my man Nico Brits.
This is for me this is potentially one of the big ones for me.
when I spoke to Calvin about it, who's Nico's coach, he was kind of like, they want the Conor rematch, and I'm like, dude, it doesn't make sense now. Like, we've moved on.
Yeah.
Like maybe down the line it'll come back.
Fight your way back.
Yeah. And I was like,
if it went to like overtime or something, and it was close, it'd just be like fair enough.
Yeah.
But
and I was like, Cat's arse for this, and he's like, his arse for it. I'm like, yeah, they want the fight. He's like, cool, bro. I'm not even going to ask Nico. I'm just going to tell him like this is what he's doing.
Yeah, no, it's epic.
And I mean, you roll a bit with Cat.
Like
he's a dude.
Well, he started when I was at 16. He
Yeah.
started there. He's such a gamer. Really, just got completely stuck in.
Yeah. I rolled him here the one day, and we had a bit of a joke, but like he's horrible to deal with. Like it's like regard all the time. It's like pace, all the time. You know what I mean? So that'll be.
And he had a really good showing at the last Sub Kings.
He
almost choked Daisley out in that overtime. Like,
I think if it was anyone but Daisy, I think they would have been.
But that's what I mean. Like, you know, it was very mature performance for a dude who's still a blue belt. If you want to, I know it doesn't equate, but I was very impressed by.
No, it was crazy, man. Like it was like a small mistake in the way he was applying the choke.
Yeah.
Like he was just trying to like gun through it, where he could have like squeezed it down and put a bit of more angle on, it would have been over.
I know that feeling of being on someone's back and not being able to finish a choke. Trust me. Here it is.
No, he was. He stood out in a division that was just straight up chaos.
Okay, but I also think in terms of the event, someone with that style is what you guys are probably looking at. Like someone who gets completely stuck in, is going for the submission, kind of caution to the wind, let's go, slap, bump and roll almost.
100%. My concern with that against a guy like Nico is like you've got to be very careful how you apply that.
Yes.
Because Nico will latch onto things very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So that's going to be very intriguing. But I think it's a really good matchup, and I think in reality, Cat's mindset, like, got really nothing to lose. Like, all the pressure's on Nico here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we've seen you here, we've seen you perform. Now you got to keep that up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you lost to Conor, now you're going to bounce back. Now the pressure's like really on.
Yeah.
You know?
BMT time.
Yeah. So very interesting for both. But I think Cat will be very quite like, in his mind is like, there's nothing really for me to lose here. I've got everything to gain. And Nico's really got to step it up and like see if he can bring that into his style. Like, how does Nico step that up? Like, where does he apply things differently?
Yeah.
And very
good scrap. It's my potential fight of the night. It could be.
Definitely could be, especially with the pace factor that Cat will bring. I think that might bring the best out in Nico.
Yeah, for sure.
And the confidence of nearly joking Desi Faithful.
Yeah, hey, it's a lot. Take it.
And then that's 6 fights done. That's the fastest 6. Something like you would call prelims, really, kind of thing. I'm not really calling them prelims, but they are. But they're not. But they are.
They identify as prelims.
They identify as prelims. Yeah. So those are going to be your 6-minute matchups, 1-minute overtimes. We're hoping for a lot of pace, a lot of action. Again, for most of those matchups, like nothing to lose, just go and stick your hand up. That's really what we want to see. Like, announce yourself to us, announce yourself to your division. Don't play it safe. Like, you really got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You know? So
roll to win. Don't roll to not lose.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's my mentality in those matchups, and I'm hoping that's what we get to see. That's really where it is. And then kicking off the next section of the card, we're starting with Nathan Thorne, Christian Deere.
That's a nice fight.
Also, such a nice matchup.
Again, a bit of history. I think Christian just beat Nathan at the AJP in the gi. Or maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Nate is really more of a no-gi guy. That's really his kind of thing. And that being said about Christian, is like, he made the cognitive decision to change gyms purely to get better at competing. That was his whole like mindset to go
Where
to
did he
gym.
move from? Or to?
He was with the Dats brothers.
In Durban.
Yeah. And then I think that's where he was, and then he changed over to 2P.
Okay.
Purely focused on competing, and that's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
I mean, like, So he's progressed really well. Like we got to see him progress quite nicely. I think he was in the first quintet. He stalled out, but he was up against it. You know, he did pretty well.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah. Who did he face? Was it either Carl Lindy or was it not Combrink?
When was this the last Sub-Kings
No, the one before. It was the one before.
Mm.
Yeah, he was like pop up against it, bro. Like but he did his job for the quintet, you know, and he looked pretty good doing it. So he was initially kind of like upper weight division into the 83s, but I don't think he was quite comfortable there. But he's quite happy at 77, and he's a big dude at 77.
No, he is a very
He's a fucking big dude at 77. So excited about that one. Again, it's like Nate's, I think, he's had a bit of a skip. Abdel lost. Then he was in the quintet. Lost to Fritz, which I mean, a bit of a weight difference there.
Well, he almost stalled that one out.
Yeah.
And they had a good scrap. He just looked up to the corner and then gotcha.
Yeah.
But he's always improving. If you watch him, like he's a
100%,
technician. You know, he goes back to that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu lab and cooks there. And
just
goes.
cooks it up.
I mean, even this last weekend at ADCC, I mean, he had a very impressive run, and like that also just got a dog in him. He gains it, he fight.
100%.
I think it's going to be another cracker.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's a really good matchup for me because again, like I think Abdel Ghani is injured. He's on his way back. I think he's almost there, but I don't know if Abdel's going back to 77. He looks like he's also filled out quite a bit, so I don't know if we'll see him back there. So again, like a good win, then we can start to move around on what's next. So very, very, very interesting matchup. The one thing from Nathan's side is against his last match with Abdel, it seemed like him and Abdel in the first match were very evenly matched. It was very close. One mistake cost him again, like the quintet. This time around, it seemed, and it's not a knock on Nate, but Abdel had just advanced so much quicker. He looked completely different. You know? It didn't look like they were as close as they were a few months back, or whatever it was. Christian has been coming up really quickly as well, and now again we're gonna have to see like how much work Nate's done. That's gonna be interesting.
Also to bounce back after some hard
Like you said, the thing with I'm a massive fan of Nathan Thorne. I like his style. I'll never forget against Fritz. As soon as that bell went, a little bit of a feel in the touch and straight on a double leg. I was like, my man, you go, boy.
He's a gamer.
You know, but that's what he does, dude.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's fan friendly. I think everybody appreciates it. So I love to see that dude on a card because you know he's going to bring that fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's going to go out on his shield. And I think that might be the X factor for him against Christian. Like if Christian can figure out how to deal with that pressure. And it gets easy because you can find a grip and you can make a bit of space. Not easy, but there is that option. You know? Nogi, not so much. Once he's on your legs or on your hips,
there's trouble.
Yeah, you're gonna have to work. You're gonna have to work. So yeah, that's a cool one. And then we're moving into a bit of heavyweight action. Warren Ellison versus Brandon O'Dear. It was it was originally supposed to be Aiden Griffith. Aiden decided Italy was way more important than Submission Kings. I don't know how you came to that conclusion, but anyway.
He's banned from the next 4 cards. Which starts with someone on his back.
So Warren Ellison has been chomping at the bit to obviously get in there.
Yeah.
It's a tough one at heavyweight because it's like there's like a couple of dudes and then there's your hand. So you got to choose what you want to do. You got to choose carefully. You know what I mean? Like, so it's going to be very interesting. But it actually worked out quite nicely. I think Warren Ellison and Old Bad News made quite an interesting matchup.
Very.
Yeah.
And Bad News had a good run at the last Sub-Kings.
Yeah.
He had a really... His jiu-jitsu is also
He's
gone.
won, hasn't he won it back to back?
I think he has. Yeah, I think he has.
He's done really... the East Rand move, I think, did wonders for him.
Yeah, that was sub 99. And Brandon, if you watch this, I want to explain this to you again on camera. Anything above 93 kilos is heavyweight, pal. Doesn't matter if you're 94 or 104, still heavyweight.
You're big, man. Bad News.
He's like, what's the weight going to be? I'm like, heavyweight, pal. Yeah, but must I still be 99? I'm like, it's heavyweight, guys. It can be 140 if you want. You know, so go, child. Relax, don't worry.
I'd love to see his training.
Yeah, but...
but Warren's also been in it forever.
Yeah.
Forever, yeah.
Warren's, it was him, Tion, and JP, not the last Sub-Kings, one before.
Yes.
Just like battling it out. It was so epic. But then Warren hurt his knee a little bit, and I was like, come on, man. We're just getting to the juicy end of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, those 3 dudes were battling it out, and Warren was really, really impressive.
Yeah.
Like he looked really good. That dude's legs are so huge, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like you see him like into like a mount position, you're just like, oh no, that does not look nice. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there. You know, and so the conversation with Warren, and I think you guys will probably get a lot more of this in the event. Going forward to the next event, 1 September, we want to put on a light heavyweight 8-man. That's the plan.
Ooh, nice.
So like having guys like Warren Allison, possibly even bad news if you can cut the weight.
What would that weight be?
94, 93.
Under 93.
93, yeah. 90 on the dot. Yes,
Yeah, because there's no light heavyweight champion at the moment.
No. So you've got Tion, JP, Warren Allison, maybe Bad News, Talbot Guy, Cam Pritchard,
Jason Durant even.
Jason Durant, who's said he's going up there now. You still got dudes like Carl Abrams at Henzo's.
Yeah.
I think Garth Warby's also in that sort of weight division. It becomes very, very juicy very quickly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the plan going forward, and like it's nice to get a bit of a look at some of the guys to see where we go from there. And that was with the conversation with Warren. I was like, we can hold on if you can start like bringing your weight down. That's the plan. But then the heavyweight opportunity came up, so
good test as well to see how it goes. Nice.
Also, another old school guy getting like the platform that wasn't around when they were like purple belts and whatever, and now it's here and they can at least get that opportunity, which is so powerful.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. It's really, really, really cool. Yeah. And Warren, to his credit, has been trying. Like we've been trying to get him on at the right matchup for quite some time. So I'm happy that that's finally come through. You know, he's got like a blossoming academy there now. Like he's really making things happen in a small space, or like a smaller region for jiu-jitsu. So it's cool. Like, and if it helps,
grow,
all the better.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%.
So yeah, looking forward to that. But I'm looking forward to having some heavyweights. That's going to be flipping cool. Yeah. It's going to be nervy sitting there like, please don't follow me. Yeah. Just so you guys know, I do own a gold medal over Brandon O'Dear.
Hey! So we're going to see Big L versus Bad News potentially. Is he allowed to call you out?
He asks me like at least once a week, when is the rematch?
I think you should put yourself as backup.
He keeps saying that it was by points, so it doesn't really count. But I mean, I've still got the gold medal.
What does the record say? You lost, Bad News.
He also got hip tossed. And then trying to get a team in the Boston. Just so you know, I'll post the gold medal if you want to see. It's a nice big SABJ.
Oh shit, back from the
and I think I've been a blue belt for like 1 day. I'll be fond memories. And then we're moving into combat jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah, I love this stuff. I'm too scared to do it myself, but I can't wait to you eventually do it. Then
you have to. It's a natural progression.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to do that and fight for the heavyweight title.
And one intergender match, then you are something.
It's hilarious. So we've got young Timna Crowley, who we were talking about earlier, against the returning Andrew Carruth. Andrew Carruth loved being slapped so much, he couldn't wait to be back.
He seems to get, like on his Facebook, it's like, sweet, can't wait.
Yeah, he's...
Also a game fight.
Yeah,
I love a game fight.
He's a big fan of... He's like, I get to slap people and it's legal. Like, okay. But they're also going to slap you, that's the other side. So like, it's, what I like about this matchup is I mentioned Timna is now or he was for the last event, the Team MMA SA captain. Andrew Carruth, I think, went to the amateur worlds maybe 2 or 3 times. He like stayed in the amateur scene for a lifetime. He's still trying to get his profile to the UFC. I don't know, something keeps going on. But like, he doesn't need to fight. Like he's got a very successful business. He doesn't need to do that. And at a point, like he wanted to fight, and then whatever he earned, donate to Samath. That's the kind of dude. He just likes to compete. You know what I mean? So he's in it for all the right reasons. I think Dave Crenier was probably a bit of a stiff matchup, but like Andrew Carruth's been around for ages. He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, been fighting in the amateur scene for an eternity, you know what I mean? So he's got all the experience. I think perhaps maybe the newer generation guys have like some new tricks up their sleeves. So again, it's going to be like a very wrestling heavily approach from Timna, whose wrestling is really, really, really high level, against like old school jiu-jitsu, adding a few slaps.
Yeah, well, it's that specialized new sort of specialized MMA jiu-jitsu. It's not just like being in half guard, being like stiff
Sure.
and ground and pound. It's half guard with the threat to the back, with the threat to the arm triangle, with the threat to like striking and being comfortable to go to side so you can get to mount. It's not just camp in half guard. So I think it's going to be that, and that's the most important thing. It'll be like slap, look to actually pass
use them to
and make a mistake.
mistakes.
Whereas before, like it would be like half guard, chill, strike, maybe stand up again. And I think that's going to be the big, and the intensity.
Yeah.
And Tim's going to bring a big
No, for
intensity,
sure,
which
for
is
sure.
going to be power to see.
The thing I noticed straight away with Andrew at the last one with Devon, he accepted their half guard. And I was like, dude, that is such a mistake.
You can't do that.
That is such a mistake. And he had like no real answer. Like he was constantly between, like he couldn't make enough distance.
Yeah.
And he couldn't like
Come underneath
close it
or
or
anything.
too much. You know what I mean? He was constantly like in this perfect striking range.
Yeah.
And I think it was like in your head you're like, okay, we're still doing jiu-jitsu, and then you forget it, and like something comes over. And you're like, and Dev was very smart because he was like using body strikes as which was genius.
Yeah.
But that's like the MMA mentality.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And it was actually quite funny because we said to Dev, like, as soon as he got slapped once, or he slapped, he like completely forgot about jiu-jitsu and just went into raw mode. We're like, why didn't you go for the arm triangle? Why didn't you go? He's like, I wanted to slap
Yeah,
you.
we were slapping them. We went from
Fair enough.
For slapping, not choking.
Yeah, and that's where I think Tim's going to have that. If he's in half and pushing, and Andrew doesn't make those adjustments, it could be a long night because those guys are so comfortable and technically like efficient in that position.
Well, like in MMA terms, if you're in top half, you're happy days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're going to get a trap somewhere, trap an arm, and that's what they live to do. You know what I mean? So like in your jiu-jitsu mind, you're like, oh, half guard sweep, to get a sweep here, maybe a little leg entry. Hey!
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you're going to wake up quite quick. And I think Andrew was, man, he was stuck in that half guard for so long, and I was like, the only way this gets better is for you to get out of that half guard. You can't stay there, dude. Like, it's literally just going to start raining now.
Yeah.
And you could see it happening. Like, the second Dev was there, he was like, okay.
But I think Andrew's wise enough to realize after, like, you only need that lesson once.
Sure.
You know, it's not something you want to. If you need it a second time, then maybe something's not clicking
Yeah,
somewhere.
Someone's going to.
That Durban humidity.
Yeah, we're going to have to fix a few things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But Dave Verster, his coach, is, I mean, he's top notch.
Genius,
You know, Will's also there, so
Also
I don't think they would. I think that they'd address the issues
Yeah, 100%.
and amend.
100%. I think Will will probably come up with him this time. Dave didn't have too much to say in the corner. It's just like, come on, Dave.
2 minutes left.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Yeah. Sorry, coach.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting, and I think Andrew Caruth, like I say, is a dog who's been on a long time.
Question: are you guys going to start doing a combat jiu-jitsu belt? Is that are we allowed to ask?
That's
that?
what we're trying to get to. Yeah. The conversation has been quite open. Lightweight looked like the most promising. Obviously, Raymond fought Gift. Made that look pretty easy with not much combat involved. We wanted Raymond in on this one, like trying to build him up with a win. There's still guys like Cedric Doyle that have to come into that fold. I think that dude in combat jiu-jitsu is going to be terrifying. Terrifying. So for now, at lightweight, we actually wanted to do Merrick versus. We were trying to find anybody that would take that fight for a title. But I mean, Merrick's also like super busy as well. But yeah, I honestly, I don't think we're going to get anyone to deal with Merrick in a hurry. Like after the first one, dude,
Frying pan.
I'm all set on getting slapped by Merrick. So the title is there. We played with the idea of doing like a 4-man tournament for the combat title. But yeah, it'll come. We've got the belts, they're ready. Cool. So we're just trying to find the right competitor. Hey Dill. You can do it, bro. It's still jiu-jitsu.
You and me for the slap jiu-jitsu. Fight. I mean, we've got to run back.
Imagine you texting.
Yeah. Sorry. I don't want to do this. Yeah.
Sorry. That'd be pretty cool though.
We talked ourselves into a fight.
You talked yourself.
What if we give you like sponges?
Chris,
Chris, that's I think. Yeah.
I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. There you'll see no jiu-jitsu. You're just gonna start slapping.
And then we're into the quintet. We spoke about JP Kruger versus Tion Gerber. I'm excited about this one. I just always hope that it ends up with everybody off the board and captain versus captain. That's always my dream.
what me and him did.
Yeah,
And
jeez.
that's what you want. 'cause
That's
then
the
it's,
best.
yeah.
That's the best.
And both those teams are stacked.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, you guys are going to hear some heavy hitters in there.
Sure.
I think Tion's gone with more like familiar to him. It's in Tion Gerber, Alan, California Al.
Jason
Jason
Durant.
Durant.
Jason Durant.
He's replaced young.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, no. So they're using Justin Thomas as
Okay.
filling for Yusuf, and then they've brought in Jason Durant has taken Shadrack's spot also from PE. So Shadrack was, and I'm pretty upset. I really want to see that.
Yeah.
We want to get that dude on immediately.
Yeah.
That dude did a heavyweight combat. Hey, America.
Yeah.
Maybe we just solved the problem.
Yeah.
He is an absolute unit of a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolute unit of a man.
And a lovely dude.
Yeah. He's had a bit of a flu or something like that. So again,
Keep it down.
Yeah.
Keep it.
We've got enough of it.
Yeah.
We've got our,
Yeah.
so obviously just like training and stuff hasn't been going according to plan, and that's all good. I mean, he's sending a very capable replacement.
Yeah.
And I think Jason's also always chomping at the bit ready to go.
Yeah.
And there's a kid who's just gone from here to.
Yeah.
Jason, stop doing flying techniques all the time. Air to run.
That's why I put guard against him so quick at ADCC. I'm like, I don't want him jumping on me.
And that's a big man jump.
No, it's a big.
He's massive.
Yeah, he's a huge kid.
Jeez, he's massive.
That is a big
and
man
he always
jump.
grapples with no shirt on.
Yeah.
And I was tired. I looked at him, I'm like, these are some broad ass shoulders.
Yeah.
Like there's some swimming
I'm
shoulders.
shoulders.
Yeah.
He's around me. Like
Yeah.
I'm on top, and he's around me.
And then he's like this launching himself at you for arm.
And he's super flexible. Like
He has like the perfect physique for jiu-jitsu.
yeah.
Like long limbs, strong. It's just ridiculous.
And he's in such a good camp as well because he does such mal kak. But then he's also with Chris.
He's a
who's
t-shirt.
such
Says
a
do
genius.
Malkak.
Yeah. Who's such like a genius, or like fundamental, but then also new. Like Chris is always evolving and like keeping up with new trends and stuff. So it's such a good combination for Jason to be in that camp with Chris. It's he's like someone also very excited for the future for that guy. He's power.
I absolutely love their whole attitude and approach to things. So with the middleweight 8-man, that division was stacked again at Sub Kings, and we kind of built it as you can punch your ticket straight to the 8-man from here. We're going to sort it all out. And Jason just went on this tear. He just pulled through everybody.
Yeah.
And he wins, and he like came off the mat, and he's like, book my ticket, I'm coming, and I was laughing. And I was like, but it was his 21st birthday, so he had to duck. And then, so I was like, I didn't say anything about it. Like Monday, Tuesday, I called Chris. I'm like, listen, dude, this was the deal. Obviously, he's won now, but like these are the guys, and it's like JP and Tion Gerber, there's big dudes in there. And he's like, Chris is just like, look, it's probably going to be a long day for him, but I mean, he's earned it. So there you go. 100%.
Yeah.
You know, but he always had that outside chance of causing a major upset. You know what I mean? And I think that's his game. Like he can really come and cause chaos.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he's now said that he's moving up. His middleweight's going to be no longer for him. His frame's filling out. Those shoulders, boy.
I mean, the average age of the people we're talking about here is like 23, 24. Like he's actually still got growing to do.
Yeah, he's he's like one of those dudes who's just super obsessed with jiu-jitsu, and great for the future. So good addition to your team there.
Don't disappoint us, Jason.
Yeah, make sure that it's entertaining.
Yeah.
But I think the quintet. You know the thing with the quintet is it's like there's always this pressure to get somebody off the mat.
Yes.
And that becomes difficult.
Yeah.
And like the more the clock ticks, the more the pressure comes, the more the mistakes come. So there's like a nice little way on how about you're going to go with strategies. And it's going to be very, very interesting. Reese, you got Reese in there.
Yeah.
Reese
Silos.
Yeah, and he had a
Silos
run,
has been on a tear.
dude. That run that I got to ref all his fights, and I was just like, is he going to triangle him again? And just his growth.
I'm excited for Silos.
Yeah.
He's gonna have a cracker.
And again, another dude that slots into that 83 kilo division.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
So it's a nice couple of looks there. Feel very bad for Yusuf. I think he's.
Yeah.
he's
Look, the
been
kid's
down
young,
a lot.
and he'll bounce back. I
for
think,
sure.
at least if he
Sure.
gets these injuries, touch wood, out of the way now. But I mean, also just a lovely kid who's going to come a long way, I think.
Yeah, I
Was
think
unlucky.
it was just a nice opportunity for him to like remind everyone that he's still around. That's how these things go. Like I've got a matchup in mind for him for September if he's ready. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting. Very interesting. It'll be very interesting to see. Like there's a lot of big things to deal with. Like someone's got to deal with Tion.
Yeah.
Someone's got to deal with JP.
Yeah.
Someone's got to deal with Bill. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
how these things will unfold. It's going to be very, very, very interesting. I mean, no pressure. Entertainment.
Yeah.
Entertainment.
Well, I think last thing on those teams is, it's still, everyone still wants to win.
Yeah.
But because it's not like, if I can say your home gym or whatever, there is a little bit more of that, like, let's go out and play till the last second,
100%.
So I'm very excited for that. Your team, JP's team is
It's juicy.
just
Juicy. It's juicy. But again, it becomes down to pressure because like you look at a guy like Reese and he gets across to like Justin.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, Reese, just get rid of him. And
Yeah.
you can't.
Yeah.
And then it
Yeah.
starts.
Opens it
and
up,
that
yeah.
pressure starts to come. You know?
Yeah.
So it's exciting. It's so funny to me that Justin has ended up on the other side.
Justin
of
and
his
Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time. Then it's Avenge My Sensei, young Jamie Gimmel.
Shit, yeah. I mean, first of all, I will say I've taken this very seriously.
Very personally or seriously?
No, seriously and personally. I mean, Alan and I go way back. Like, we've been
I love
competing
it.
since blue belt. I think the last time we competed was in the gi. I was still a brown belt. Johan then beat the both of us up quite severely at the
That's not
AJP.
like you, huh?
No, it's not. It was the first time I realized what a horrible person he was. But no, I've taken it really seriously. I know Al, if I know Al, he's taken it really seriously. And yeah, I mean, obviously the dynamic of, avenge the...
Listen, that's Alan Cliff's term for this matchup is Avenge My Sensei. We didn't make this up.
Yeah.
Is it?
He's like, hey, I want that chance to avenge my sensei.
Look, I mean,
Whatever.
another old dog in the
Yeah.
game,
Yeah.
huge for the community, the stuff that he does. I don't think a lot of people realize how much he's
Yeah.
done for the community. So, and again, that East Ram camp is just a whole bunch of nice folks. When I do win, no more East Ram, please. We're getting like me and Dill again.
Hey, avenge my sensei, bro.
Fuck.
They asked for it.
I have
You
no
gotta do it.
sensei, so if I lose, no one can avenge me.
You can send Mila, bro.
Oh God, yeah. Now that I've signed on to an extended contract, but yeah, I think me and Al. I mean, you guys know how I roll and how I compete, and I think
I love
Alan's the
watching
same.
Alan Cliff compete, man.
I think it's just going to be a Tasmanian devil tornado, and someone's going to walk out there. I don't see it going to overtime. I don't think Alan and I have 8 minutes in us. A good 4 minutes is what you
Solid
get.
4 minutes.
Yeah, then I'm walking off.
Yeah.
Call it a draw. But no, I think it's going to be lucky. He had a good fight against Mark.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Mark Silos was
Yeah,
literally getting ready
for that
for
complete
Adam's
opposite.
speech.
Yeah.
He's like, and
Complete opposite.
I'm like, hey Mark, there's been a change of plans. Alan Cliff. He's like, dude, that is literally
Yeah.
like
Polar
polar opposite.
opposite, yeah.
What's gonna happen?
yeah.
Like, sorry, boy, it's just the way it is.
But yeah, I think I mean, it's hard to pump yourself up. But yeah, I've been taking it seriously. I've been doing a lot of work with Dylan and Chris and the guys from my club, and yeah, very much looking forward to it. And
I'm excited. I love watching Alan Cliff compete because you know what you're gonna get. You know what I mean? Like he just comes on and goes.
we're there for business, not
100%.
yeah.
100%.
So yeah, should
I
be
know
fun.
you hate submissions, so it'll be very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an advantage fighter, so it's very difficult to win in submission or anything.
Yeah, it's a great matchup, and I think it's like I was explaining to someone, I'm like, if there's a matchup you want to watch, that's the one, because these are the two dudes that have been doing this probably long before we even knew what jiu-jitsu was. You know what I mean? Like guys that have been actively competing through the years, non-stop. You know what I mean? Like leading from the front, and I appreciate that more than anything. You know what I mean? Like I'm not even worried about how the fight goes. Like,
Yeah.
the fact that we get to see two dudes like you and Alan go out and do it, that's enough for me. Like I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
That's what I want
And
to see.
hopefully now with the card being top heavy with black belts, like there's a heap of oaks. Like nice to see Warren. I know we're going to get to him now, but nice to see Warren back, and like hopefully this will start. Like Ching's another one, Matty Taylor. Like losing is a part of the game.
Yeah,
You're going to win, you're going to lose. And trust me, no one wakes up on a Monday going, oh, that oak sucks. Everyone forgets, So like, I really hope this is something we could.
No,
It would
for
be
sure.
cool to see
I
like a
think-
whole upper card of black
I
belt.
think it's we also like as a promotion have to prove ourselves that like we mean business. We want everybody to shine. I think that initial part was like, and guys want to see that now. Like I want you to win and take a belt. I don't want my belt back. Like, take it, put it where we're going to put it. You know what I mean? Like, we want those things to happen. And I think that legitimacy from our end will start to spur that a lot more. I think black belt's going to put it all on the line with no like stresses of failure, let's say. I think that'll change things. And I think from a point of view where we are now, like the matches we put up, like this is as big as it gets in the country. You know? Like, these are the best dudes we have. Legitimately, they're the best dudes we have. So I think that's a good factor for us. And I think that'll start to have that effect. We'll start to see a lot more guys being like, you know, fuck, I will do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, well, obviously, we're kicking off into Rowan Budlander versus Emerson Meme. Yeah, dude, it's a hell of a juicy matchup. I think Emerson, like those that don't know from the Team ZR, they obviously have 16-10, but in Brazil, these dudes eat, sleep, and breathe competition. That's what they do.
Yeah, the Zero Adiola, that was like the head of the association, was the competitive, like head of competition for Gracie Barr, then broke off and started his own thing like back in the day. And Emerson, if you've seen him roll at ADCC or AJP, then he goes for that. He just goes for it. And it really, it's going to be hella entertaining.
Yeah. And so, also the start of the South African Brazil thing. So if someone's going to want to get that.
And it's funny because Rowan's in like a camp with Brazilians, but he's on Team SA. Brazil, like, sorry we did that to you, but it's just the way it pans out. You know? Someone's got to do it. So I think that initially we wanted to try and set it up as a quintet, which hopefully we'll still get to. Set up a Brazil versus SA quintet, but I think this one will be a good battle out there. You know, and you got OGs, Rowan, Warren, Martino, like really trying to toe the line. A little bit of extra pressure for their country. You know?
Of course.
Don't let us down, mate.
It's all been rolling for more than like 11 years, all of them, I think.
Yeah. I think Rowan about 17, Warren and Martino 14, 15 years. They've been around a long time. Long time. Now, like Rowan would have been part of Warren's brown belt grading back in Durbs many moons back.
Okay.
And he would have already been a brown belt.
That's insane.
No, I like the added fact. I know not everyone's on the same team, but there is that little bit of like, okay, sweet, this Oaks won, I got to go do it for my team, country, whatever. So it's a nice little spin on things.
But look, that being said, is those matchups on both ends are super tough.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Super tough matchup.
I mean, I'd be loath to even call out a winner, if I'm honest, just because it can go either way.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the cool thing is that we get to see high-level black belt competitors, because all of these dudes are competitors.
Yeah.
Both in the gi and no gi. And that was one thing I've really been trying to push, is to get a black belt gi match. We got close.
Yeah, the bloody camera jinx took and did not safely, but yeah. Well,
and I think that's going to be super important for us going forward, like for the longevity of gi matches for us, like to see what black belt level gi jiu-jitsu looks like on that kind of stadium.
Yeah, in a sub-only format.
Yeah.
Prospect of seeing such high-level dudes in the gi is going to be very exciting. But just going back to Rowan and Emerson, I mean, Rowan's been around a long time, and it was kind of like, I mean, we were speaking about it briefly off camera, but Rowan's in a point where he actually said it in the interview. He's like, he almost wants to like prove his not his worth, but like he's like, I'm a legit black belt. Like, I don't want people to think like I moved German and I got a belt, and I was like, well, weird, like I'm legitimate, and he is. Dude's been doing it 17 plus years. You know what I mean? And then going into this kind of camp where everybody's competing has kind of like invigorated him to start competing again, you know, which I think is really cool. And then you got to hang with the younger dogs, you know what I mean? Like these dudes, like competitive blue belts are giving you a hard run, so you got to like really step your shit up, you know. And obviously Vlad, who's competing still, competes all over the world, and Davi, who's the absolute X factor, to be honest. That dude is he's just like levels above, you know. And you get to train with these dudes all day, every day. And the little competition team there, 2P, is very, very, very high level. You know? So a small little crew of guys, and they work hard. So I think on paper, Emerson's going to be a really, really tough match, but these dudes have put in the work. And I think that's always important, you know. They know the task, they know what they're up against, and they're quite comfortable with that.
Yeah.
You know,
And the fact that all three of them from Tupe are pretty much
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the card, that's, you know, that's
Yeah,
also
it's
one
critical,
thing,
man.
like when there's one of you in a gym
Yeah,
training,
yeah,
but when
sure.
there's, you know how it is, when there's 3, 4, 5 of you training, it
Yeah.
really ups the level
100%,
completely. So,
100%. That was always the plan, is to like try and bring up teams in like big numbers. So like there's a lot of training camp going on, and I think it like builds up an atmosphere like a team
Yeah, for
training
sure.
together.
yeah, it would be interesting to know how many different gyms you've got on there, because I know you got like Lazard and Nico from Cornerstone, you've got
Yeah.
a couple, Constrictor.
Yeah.
So, it's, you know, it's nice that it's a whole, across the board.
Gyms is
gyms
nice,
are-
and then also like I like to always see how many debutants we've got as
Yeah.
well. Like every card we've got X amount of debutants, which is important. So we're bringing in new people to look at, and then like guys get a bit frustrated, like, oh, when are we going to get a matchup again? I'm like, dude, it's 4 shows. Like, give us a chance. We have to like come back full circle. But those are important for the growth, like bringing in new people, trying to get across to all the gyms possible. You know, obviously some gyms are always going to pick up bigger amounts of
Yeah,
mat
you
time.
can't have every gym, every card.
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
makes
But I
sense.
think we've done a pretty good job, to be honest.
No, very much
I
so.
agree.
We've, if you in a gym in Pofada and you've got a whiz kid, let's see, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how we are. So yeah, but I think again, all of that stuff leading back into the black belts will have a lot of positive effect going forward. You know? So yeah, exciting. And then the gi match, obviously, my man Warren King and Vladimir Alves. I think we've kind of spoken about this. This is a matchup that Warren wanted. He specifically asked. He's like, I need to do a gi match with Vlad. I was like, okay. Like, you get what
So
you asked for.
relevant ask,
You know what I mean?
like, you know, Vlad's been on the local scene.
Yeah.
I don't know when Warren, I know he's been doing Europeans and that,
Yeah.
and also old dog in the game, like put in the yards, but I think, you know, going to travel overseas to compete is very different to fighting here on consecutive weekends or every other month. And that, you know, the Tupe guys, like you said, they were at the Sub Kings.
Sure.
They've done a couple AJPs, a couple ADCCs. So it's going to be interesting to see in that regard.
100%. So like, and Warren's like, his approach is very much that he feels like at that division in the gi, Vlad is the #1 guy. So for him to get a win over that puts him, that's what he wants to see. That's what he wants to understand. And obviously we're from the same gym, so I get to see this dude training. I've never seen this dude train like this in my life. Like, he's obsessed with this camp, you know? And that's cool. And Vlad is very, the respect is quite mutual as well. He understands. He knows Warren. He's seen Warren like compete before. They've got a good idea of each other. And I mean, in my head, Vlad's going to be a very traditional kind of gi player.
Yeah.
Warren.
I think that's one thing that maybe a lot of people don't realize or pick up on is, although like, you know, Quan Vessels is probably more well known for their like MMA prestige and no-gi grappling. Their gi curriculum is probably, especially for like coming from Richie and like look how well Monique did at Masters and with Warren,
True.
they care so much about it. And if anything, it might be one of their better sort of curriculums and like classes, because they're so well versed in it and so technically like sound and understanding. And Richie's a mad genius, and Warren is like such a good student in that with someone who is a black belt. It's not like you have to brush up on fundamentals. This is someone who's going to be like very, very sound and then offensive and working on those finer details, which is what Vlad will obviously bring. So it's actually going to be such a technical matchup. So it's I'm so excited to watch it. I think it's going to be an absolute cracker.
And also that new facility you guys have walked into and taken over. Like, speaking of, we'll talk about that later. But I think the energy you can see from the you know, like, you've got this beautiful world class. Congrats to all of you guys for that. But you know, I think that's also a huge thing. Like, you know, you've got this new energy, revigorated.
Sure.
I mean, I can just watching your guys' Instagram stories. Just like,
You should
like
train.
I'm like,
You gotta
holy
go train.
shit!
You
Like,
gotta go train.
where's a child I can
You gotta
go
go
fight or
train.
something? You know? Sorry, Mila, talking about you. But I think, you know, like, and just watching their videos and stuff, you can just sense from Warren, it's like, there's just this big team behind him, which is a Quan Vessel's sort of staple.
Especially in the gi.
In the gi,
So you made a great point there. Like, most people don't realize that Con Vessels is actually a gi school. Like, Rich is like, we're a gi academy. Like, that's what we are, really. You know?
Yeah.
Majority of the class is gi, and that's these guys, most of the guys want to perform in the gi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's going to be very cool to see. And the other side of the coin for this, which I always love, is like Vlad he's a team leader. He leads his gym. He leads from the front. He's got his students. Like their whole thing is like they want to almost show their students on how to like carry themselves in jiu-jitsu, like how you go about and deal with this. And Warren says the exact same things. It's like Warren's like the general there. He's leading the competition team. He's on the mat with his oaks every day.
Yeah.
Saturday mornings, whenever the oaks need extra hands, he's the dude that everyone goes to. Like he's leading from the front. And he was kind of saying like, it makes way more sense for me to be able to give advice once I've experienced that position myself.
Yes.
And also to show guys like this is how we do a camp. This is how we train. This is how we get ready, and this is the way to do it. And he's been like super disciplined because of that as well. He knows like he's now got the opportunity to show you how things must be done.
100%.
And that's on both sides of these guys are doing the exact same kind of thing. You know what I mean? Which I think is I mean, it's obviously causes a little bit more pressure because you want to impress your students and you want to like lead from the front. But at the same time, I think by the time they actually get to the mat, like all of that hard work is kind of done. Like we've proved to you this is how you go about things, and you just got to enjoy yourself. You know?
And if that's the mindset they come with, losing, does losing suck? Sure. But if you've done there and done all the work and shown like whatever happens on the mat on the day happens on the day. Yeah. But I think that's going to be a cracker.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
And we haven't even got to the main fight yet.
Yeah.
Shit.
That's Martino versus Davi for me. With all due respect to everybody else out there, I think in this space right now, before this card starts, this is the biggest fight in jiu-jitsu that we can put on in the country right now. I don't think it gets much bigger than this, to be honest. Everybody knows Martino, well, in the jiu-jitsu world, everybody knows Martino. Been doing it a hell of a long time. Him and Davi have got a little bit of a history now at the AJP. I think that little bit of X factor at 70 kilos makes it a little bit more interesting. Maybe Martino's slightly bigger. Davi, I think, was quite comfortable at 66. He's not the biggest dude, but my man can do some jiu-jitsu. My man can do some jiu-jitsu. But like, honestly, in my head, Martino's a guy we've been trying to get all the time as well. Like he was supposed to be in the original 8-man, got injured in the lightweight, got injured, tried to get him for something else, wasn't quite ready, and then the second the Vlad fight, him and Davi went, I was like, I think that's going to be our opportunity. Like now there's a bit of a story. Two guys that really, really like each other. Like jiu-jitsu is not like bad blood stories, you know what I mean? It's just like we have an opportunity that you see each other like over here, but now we can bring it, we can amplify it a little bit, and let's see how it works out.
Also, a comp in a hall is, because okay, fuck, maybe I've got another fight coming up, or we've had a fight before, so now when it's focused, and if I know Martino, like I do, he's taken this very seriously, and... No,
I know for sure he has, because like our cameras have to go in at a specific time, and I'm all for that, like, please don't put me in a situation where you're not comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't want us to see shit, 100% we won't be there, you know? So like, that already tells you, like, they're doing stuff the way it needs to be done, and I think having a little bit of an understanding of each other, and having an understanding of where you could possibly win those matchups.
I think it either goes out quickly, someone taps someone quickly, or we're going to see a very technical battle and ride the wave, and then... Yeah,
because I mean, in the match to AJP, Davi got that straight ankle, and having rolled Davi, that straight ankle is...
disgusting.
It's on it, it's...
it's disgusting.
That's that bad, eh?
Supreme.
No, it's disgusting. And it's so weird how a little person is so strong.
And it's going to be fascinating to see again, I mean, it's a lot more preparation, focused on a singular match, and coming from Henzo's with like Kurt and that, line under like directly to Danaher and whatever, like the understanding of leg locks, and that having now facing someone who is they're like so supreme at that leg game, it's an incredible matchup.
And riding a very big, like, powerful gym performance that Des has done really well, Connor's done really well, Cara. So, you know, it's not like Martino's coming out he's coming out
Sure.
to represent a team that is
And it's
done
almost
really
like
well lately.
it's almost like he's like the ace in the hole at Henzo's. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you've seen one of these.
Yeah,
Now just watch this kind
Yeah.
of thing. You know, because like we all want to see Martino. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Like these guys are all really cool, but we all really want to see Martino. You know what I mean? Like he for me is like the guy. Outside of like I suppose like Ricky Lowe and that sort of age group. These are the guys that have been like from day one. They've been on the front line. You know, so honestly, like for me, in terms of right now in the space we're in right now, this is as big as it gets. Like I don't think we can put on a bigger matchup. Like I think this is holistically like the perfect dance partners for both sides. I know you're getting skeptical of my thing here. He's like, hey, don't forget Johan. I'm like, I understand. If Johan was 70 kilos,
yeah.
that would be a different story.
Stop injuring yourself. You pitch up to like to.
I just think like everything is kind of almost aligned in a way for that matchup, and it's now the perfect time for it. I think people like youngsters getting into jiu-jitsu, whites and blue belts have never seen this kind of like. I think you're going to be shocked to see that kind of level.
Locally as well.
I think from the top 6 fights, I think you're going to be pretty taken aback.
Because I remember when I was like white belt watching and like watching guys like Martino. It's
What is like foreign concept.
And also for some of these youngsters who are on the card to like, you know, like we all know Martino, we all know Warren, and a lot of the guys haven't seen them fight locally, not for any other reason than they just haven't been able to. So we know what's coming in a sense, and we're this excited. Like when you guys watch this, like don't skip a beat because it's going to be insane.
Enjoy the show. I'm so pumped for this card, man. Honestly, like it's. I think the matchups are really high level. I think there's like a bit of history here and there between a few of the people. I think it makes for some very, very exciting jiu-jitsu. I think it's going to be a cracker. I'm so pumped. It's always nice for me. I love giving away belts. It's a bit of a problem. Like we have to calm down at times. But I feel like it's just one of those things, man. Like guys work very hard to get to these stages, and I mean, like we're all like making these big sacrifices to get to fight night. Like I mean, the belts at least we can do.
No, for sure.
I think it's quite interesting because, like you mentioned, Geordie from Criancho. There's a kid who's all of 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, grappling for a year.
Training all day, every day. You've got guys like Connor training all day, every day.
Yeah.
But then you get to the older guys, and I'm not familiar with like Rowan, but I know like Martino has a job. I have a job. Alex got a job. Like. But these guys are still putting that aside.
Rowan's literally like got a design advertising company.
There you go. Like, you know, so like to put that aside and still train as seriously for each other, I think also shows the massive respect everyone's got for everyone
and for the sport and like culture and community.
Look, and that's exactly what I'm alluding to. Like I understand. I mean, I'm not training to fight anybody. I'm just trying to be a little bit less shit to jiu-jitsu. But like I understand, like you got kids at home, you got work, you got all this shit going on, and then we're still asking you to put in the camp to come grapple another man on the big stage. You know what I mean? Like we're not closed off to the fact that there's a lot of sacrifices being made for this whole thing to come together. And like that's why like I try and give you the most respectable matchup we can for you to like really showcase yourself, you know what I mean? Like especially the older guys that have had opportunities here and there, but like I say, for the youngsters, and I think it's got a big effect on the growth and longevity of jiu-jitsu here.
Massively.
For youngsters to see that and be like, holy shit, like there are dudes here that can do this stuff. Like, we've got some high level dudes here. You know, I think that's very, very, very important.
I think it's also a testament to you guys as an organization that guys are willing to take 3 months out of their lives and sacrifice whatever it may be to do it because of what you guys are putting on.
That comes back to the us to prove our legitimacy. It's a big part, and I'm not naive to the fact that you can't just arrive and be like, hey, you come here and grapple this person. We've got to prove ourselves as well.
100%.
And I think we're still doing that, and I think it's worked pretty well. And I think Friday 2 June, going to be a hell of a show. These two hooligans back on the card. Still, that's 6 from 6, eh? 6 from 6. But you didn't really get on the mat on the one. You were just kind of there. You got to lift the trophy.
I'm in the photo.
Got the athlete's pass.
Yeah.
All that matters.
To come to the weigh-ins.
Yeah,
Exactly.
All the Mr. Submission Kings, as he's now referred to. Anyway, but yeah, I think we've got a hell of a juicy card. There's 13 fights to contest, 2 title fights, 7 black belts. Doesn't get much bigger than that. How many brown belts? 3 brown belts.
All of them.
All of the brown belts.
If you're not a black belt, you're a brown belt.
Yeah. A couple of has-been purples. Old Dylan Jones over here. Yeah,
But yeah, it's going to be epic, dude.
Yeah,
Thanks
okay.
on my behalf, thanks for including the old dog in the list again.
The OG.
Dylan, I think you have to. What contract does he have signed with you? Like,
Yeah, I feel like Dylan has to start working for us or something.
Yeah.
Give us content or something. Something's going to happen.
yeah.
But yeah, that's 02 June. That's 1:33 on First Silver Park. Tickets are still available at Ticket Pros. The vlog series should be completely done by now. It's pretty cool. I think it's worked out quite nicely. A little bit of insight onto who you shall see in the top 3 matchups. Otherwise, we'll be live on YouTube. We'll see you there.